Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors in Winston, Chester. Glad you're here this morning, right here in the middle of the week. Got a big show lined up, a special guest here, some great stories and great picks. But first, our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin Highway 77. Looking high today, 79, just like yesterday, low of 53. But let's get to that water temperature. I didn't mention it yesterday because I had to double check it. And I double checked it and triple checked it. Folks, our water temperature is 70 degrees, 70.9 to be exact. It was like that yesterday, but I just could not imagine it going that high that quick. But at water temperature, according to NOAA, is now 70 degrees. And also at the pier, I heard yesterday they called it king mackerel. I got to verify that, but it's happening really, really fast. Remember last week was all zero. Now it's about to bust loose. So we'll get to that on our Friday fishing report. River readings brought to us by Sandhill Seafood, Highway 77, good fresh seafood. The Apalachicola of Bluntstown right at 11 foot. Got a steady drop after all that rain last week, a good strong and steady drop. The Choctaw at Caryville is reading this morning a 9.8. And it's not quite dropping quite as fast as Apalachicola, but it is dropping. They're dropping out for you're going to fish the rivers this weekend. You're going to have some falling waters, which is really good for some kind of fishing, okay? The tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery. We're looking at 121 will be the high tide and the low tide. And it's sort of interesting now how this is switching around. High tide is right in the middle of the day. Then the low tide is going to be at night at 11:15. So it sort of flipped on us, okay? Let's take our break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back and welcome to our special guest, Tim McGuffin. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Great to have you. Now, this is a great story here. And what brings him on the show, of course, both the boys went through Mosley and Bowen, playing baseball at Auburn and all that, but really, he does a lot of quail hunting, wild quail hunting, and so we're going to get to that. But first, let's give a little bit about your background. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I'm originally from south of Jacksonville, a little town called Middleburg. Mm-hmm. Met my wife Carol Lee. His maiden name was Carol Lee Cullen, and met her at University of Florida. Mm-hmm. And we moved here from the Jacksonville area. We moved here in '94. And I currently work with a company called Reliance South Construction, mm-hmm. and we're a general contractor, mainly doing commercial construction. And
I know a lot of the boys that run that, Dalton and
Dalton Parker, John Meyer, and Richard Dodd. Mm-hmm. They're the main guys who run that company. And
good folks. And you're on a project right now we may not get to, but you're in Caryville. You got to run down there real quick.
I'm in Caryville building a park for the Trust for Public Lands right now. So.
Awesome. Okay, now, so what got you into what is fascinating to me is how those boys have just grown up around the outdoors. And when I got in class and all, I knew they were outdoorsmen.
Yeah, I've been a quail hunter since I could walk. In Northeast Florida is where I grew up, and that's all my dad and my grandfather did. Mm-hmm. And we always had bird dogs, and my grandfather was always training dogs. And so that's just been my passion. Mm-hmm. It may be more training dogs than it is hunting birds.
I know. I know where you come from. They're special. Tell us what kind of dogs do you have?
Right now, I have an English pointer, a 6.5-year-old male English pointer. I have a 2-year-old male Brittany Spaniel, and I have a 1-year-old female English setter she's really in training mode.
So you got them sort of spaced out.
Yep. And I actually, one of the pictures we have is, I don't know which one it is, but I have a retired 15-year-old English setter female. But she hasn't hunted in the last.
How old?
She's 14 or 15.
No kidding.
And she just hangs out at the house is all she does.
Well, she deserves a good retirement. I imagine she's had some good field work. We're going to start looking at these pictures. We got a bunch of great pictures. So, let's start on this one. You got them. Tell us about it.
That was that was probably in. Let's see, Bowen was born in '96, so that might be like '97, '98.
Okay.
Probably going on a dove hunt, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then here's Bowen here.
This is Bowen back when he was playing for Gulf Coast. That was a piece of property we had at that time up in Bascom, in the Bascom area, and that was one of those wet weather lakes and it was full of bass.
Hey, he was telling me sometime about going up on that trip.
This is on the same piece of property. That the young man on the right is Gregory Gladden, who you know.
Yes.
And Gregory had never killed a nice buck, and we had these deer on cameras, and this is just raw property. It's unfenced or whatever.
Right.
And we put Gregory in a stand, and I didn't go this day, but Taylor and Bowen took Gregory, and he killed this 9-point, and 5 minutes later, Taylor killed that 7-point. And they were on opposite ends of the property.
I remember when that happened because I had to tell them to repeat that story to me because it was hard to believe that it was in that close of each other.
They were on opposite ends of the property, and Taylor said he heard Gregory shoot, and then literally 5 minutes later, Taylor shot. So,
that's
that
cool.
was, and that Gregory has that deer mounted. And
Yes.
so, yeah.
Yes. All right here. Let's talk about Bowen now. He's played baseball since he was a young man.
Yeah.
I showed a picture last year. He's in left field. Y'all may remember he was making a diving catch. He was horizontal and making a diving catch in left field. I thought it was a cool.
Well, that was on ESPN Top 10 last year.
Was it?
It was.
Okay.
And but that was his junior year. This year, and this is a photograph from last year.
Yeah.
But this year he's a senior, and he is playing outfield. And their season just kicked off this weekend, so it's got a long. They'll go all the way to May.
We'll be sure and follow him. We were going to get the boys to come on the show with you and all, but like I said, Bowen's playing baseball, and Taylor is.
Taylor is a doctor of physical therapy. He lives in Dothan, works in Ozark.
Yeah.
And he's got a full-time job.
Yeah, I bet he does. He does. Okay, we're just going to take a break, and we'll be right back with a lot of pictures. Okay, welcome back. See, we're Tim McGuffin. We're talking about all kind of stuff, and we're talking about shotguns and everything, but let's add some names what I'm thinking about because I flat sure forget it. How about Jenny Chasen from Bayou George, Bill Pardue, Bayou George, Donna Pardue, Bayou George. We got half Bayou George. Sandy Hormel, Mary Melvin, Bayou George, and Sambo Melvin. All the good folks up there in Bayou George. So you are now added to the pickle jar, and we'll draw some names Friday. Talking about this picture here, this is fascinating. This is when Bowen was little.
This is, okay. I was reminded by my wife, this is Bowen's first ever quail hunt.
Okay.
He was about 2, and I was actually carrying him on my shoulders when we were doing this.
Okay. I loved it. I love that Dodge Ram. That's the first thing I saw after I saw Bowen. I realized I was Bowen right away. But tell me real quick, we're talking about guns and all, and you still hunt with a Sweet 16?
I hunt with a Belgian-made Browning Sweet 16.
Now you down hard outdoorsmen know what that is. That's a special gun right there. You just don't see them much anymore.
Oh, it's an old one. It's real. My dad bought it from his brother-in-law for $75.
Oh my goodness! And you were telling me, I didn't know that Browning has started making them again.
Browning makes a Sweet 16. They started making it a couple of years ago. And I've held one. And they are amazingly light compared to the one I have now.
No kidding.
Oh yeah.
But
it's like carrying a feather.
But they're expensive now.
Oh, they're pretty expensive.
Okay.
They'll run you about $1,800.
Okay, yeah, I'll put that on my Christmas list.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's a Sweet 16 special gun. Okay, we got all kind of pictures here, Tim. Let's see. What's this next one right here?
This is this sideways. This is a turkey that I killed a couple of years ago. Matter of fact, I've called in a bunch of turkeys for my boys. Yeah. But this is the second one I ever killed in my life. And,
really?
And that one that was over in the Calhoun County area.
Cool.
This picture is this is John Fishel, who people may know. He's a longtime resident of Bay County. Howell Fishel on the right, Taylor McGuffin on the left, and Bowen there, and a couple of dogs. This was a number of years ago in one of the places we hunt. And John and I have hunted together ever since I moved to Panama City.
So
he's a real live wild bird hunter.
Yeah.
And those 2 dogs that are in that picture, that's his dog Missy and my dog Pete, and they're in doggy heaven now.
That's a good picture.
Yeah. This is Taylor. Taylor went to college at Huntington College in Montgomery and played 2 years for the baseball for the Huntington Hawks until he tore his labrum again in his shoulder. So that he decided he was finished with baseball.
Yeah, there comes a time.
Yep. Oh yeah.
All right.
This is years ago with Bowen. That little setter that's right there, I was telling you, I have one that's at home that's retired. Well, she's about 14 or 15 years old right now, and those were pen raised birds. That was back in when we were Bowen was learning to shoot birds. He had a single shot 410 that he was using to learn to shoot birds over dogs. So
there's a lot to be said about that, and that's a great beginning gun for kids and all that. 410.
Oh yeah.
I had some boys took squirrel hunting, and that's what one of the young boys there had a little 410.
You learn to hit them with that, you can hit them. So,
that's true. That's true. Oh, now, we got some popping over here.
Oh yeah, this is several years ago on Shell Island. I think Taylor was home from school. This may have been when he was home from PT school, and this is regular old Shell Island pompano fishing.
There you go.
And that's my favorite kind of fishing. I'd rather do that than anything.
I had to. Listen, what time was it? Springtime, obviously?
Spring, yes. It was in the April-May time frame, yes.
And y'all go to old Honey Hole, a lot of people go to right there, Shell Island, go across there?
Go across. Those were all caught on fish bites.
Yeah, that's what we talk about on here. That's fun. Okay.
That is in the Brothers River, off one of the little creeks off the Brothers River several years ago. That's a crappie speck. Taylor caught we caught several. We were actually brim fishing, and he caught that off of the end of a tree out in the water.
What kind of bait did he catch that on?
That was on a beetle spin.
A beetle spin.
Yep. That was a
cool.
beetle spin. That right there is a nice red belly brim that was caught on Pine Log Creek.
Oh, you tell us Pine Log.
Yeah, it's Taylor and I have. Taylor is my fly fisherman, and we love to brim fish and fly rod, and that Pine Log Creek is one of our favorite places to go.
Well, that's cool. Y'all go to so many different places. I mean, you take advantage of some really, really nice places. Howard's Creek, Brothers, and Pine Log.
This is just another picture of Bowen last year at Auburn when he was in, and
he got on base. Ready to go.
This is one of the things after the games at Auburn, you get an opportunity to. You think it's so funny. These little kids are so shy to talk to these ball players and to get their autograph and everything. And Bowen's always been real good about taking photographs.
I know. I bet he has. I can picture him doing that. He's always had a big smile on his face. Yeah. He sure has.
This is a turkey that Taylor killed. The first turkey Taylor ever called in by himself and killed, and it was in the Calhoun County area. And so that was his first one that he killed hunting all by himself that
cool.
day.
He called it in?
He called it in, the whole thing.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, this is a special one. Bowen was 10 and Taylor was 5, and that was Taylor's second turkey. That I had caught, and I called in these one morning, and that big turkey on the right that Bowen killed, he was 10 years old. It's the only one he's ever killed, and that turkey had 2 double 11-inch beards.
No kidding.
Yeah, and it was. I told him people hunt a lifetime, and you're 10 years old, and you killed that one.
That's true now. That's true. I remember this pig. We had it on the show.
Yeah, this is Bowen back in, this is this property in Bascom.
Yeah.
And he and Greg Gladden had gone up there to go frog gigging, and that's just a couple of the big ones they got. So
that's some healthy frog.
Oh yeah. This is probably in West Bay. Back when several years ago when we had a lot of ducks were here. Taylor and Bowen love to duck hunt. No matter if I think they like to hunt anything with feathers.
Yeah.
And so they have a number of days that they went and took people with them and shooting those redheads. And Taylor has a couple of mounted that were really beautiful. So.
Yeah. Now they put the big spread out, all the decoys out, and got it up. They were afternoon. Were the afternoon?
This is all their hunts have been in the afternoon back then. Yes.
That's cool.
Yep. This is this past year. This is the young setter that I'm training right now, and she wasn't even a year old right there. And this is on pen raised birds. This is a training day.
Look at that form.
And she has the potential to be a good one. So.
Now, where'd you get her from?
Actually, she is my son-in-law's dog,
Okay.
and he didn't have time to really work with her, but he got her from a farm up in near Cairo, Georgia.
Yeah.
And a farmer who raises dogs just to hunt with.
Yeah.
That's all he does with them, and he got at her, and so I kind of took her training over, and she's been residing at my house for a while. So.
Okay.
This is one of our hunts. That's the Brittany on the left and the pointer on the right. And these are some wild birds. I think this is this year. Taylor and I killed these birds.
I thought so.
Up in the Washington County area.
Yeah. When you the challenge of hunting wild birds is just most people won't accept that challenge because it's just so. How do y'all go about just trying to find a location for them? I mean, in general.
That's a hard part, you know, and but it's a lot of scouting, and a lot of people are not committed to the walking.
Yes.
There's John. I run GPS collars on my dogs, and John Fishel always asks me at the end of the day. He says, "Well, how far did Colt go?" And normally where we hunt. It's not unusual for Colt to go 35 miles.
No way.
And we probably, and Taylor has a Fitbit, and we usually walk 11 to 15 miles.
Are you serious?
That's man. So a lot of people are not committed to that.
No,
so,
they're not committed, and so the combination of the challenges is just overwhelming for most hunters. The walking. First of all, having really good dogs, and then actually finding them because there's not many out there. So that when I know y'all have done this for years, and I said I'm gonna get y'all on the show and then talk about it because that's something else.
We enjoy it. I'm surprised. I've been pleasantly surprised that the boys really look forward to it. And that's they would rather go quail hunting or duck hunting or spring turkey hunting than really. I think they've shot their load of deer. They feel like.
Yeah, so, I know what he's talking about. They love to do that. Let's take our final break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, folks. Glad you're with us this morning. Sitting with Tim McGuffin and talking about all kind of outdoor stuff, and mainly hunting wild quail, which not very many people do anymore. So we're glad to have him on the show. But now let's look at our fishing game times, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers down in Port St. Joe. Good folks down there. And some really neat stuff. 409 to 609, and this afternoon, 434 to 634. We'll talk about the season itself, and before we get back to the pictures, and about it now, it's starting to warm up, so not a lot of quail hunting. We're sort of wrapping it up now.
Yeah, we're pretty much done. We hunt based on the weather. We're not gonna. We all wear snake boots and everything, but we're because you're basically in the rattlesnake's den when you're quail hunting.
Well, and I know y'all have seen your share of them.
Oh yeah, we've over the years we've crossed paths quite often.
Yeah.
And so we hunt. If it's hot, we're not going. And if it's we basically judge when we're going based on what the weather situation is.
That's good. And we're going to have a little bit more cold, so it might get another time or two and all. But let's talk about dogs here. Check this one out. Tell us about this dog.
This is a young female setter that's she turned 1 in December the 6th. She turned 1, and this is just a training time we had in the backyard. I've trained every dog that I have, and I've started every one of them in the backyard. I'm 100% yard trained in the backyard, and then I'll introduce them to pen raised birds, to see how they do. And I make sure that they're, I go through a real significant process to make sure they're not gun shy.
This is interesting. There's so much more talking about training dogs. I may just come over to your house one day in the backyard and all because this is, you got to make sure they're not gun shy. So you got to make a little bit of noise around them. I used to hit the old pot.
Well, that's
hit the pot, make a little bit of sound, then feed them. So that's what we did. That's cool. All right, we got to get all these pictures in.
This is just a sunrise. Going hunting one morning this year. I was heading down the highway and there wasn't a soul on the road, and I was looking due east, and I said, "Man, that's a neat picture." So I set my iPad on my steering wheel. I was driving, and I took a picture.
Awesome.
I shouldn't tell anybody that, but that's what I did.
No, that's awesome. Those are little things we'll talk about that surround the experience about being outdoors.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
You don't see that laying in bed.
No, you don't. All right.
This is just another one of those duck pictures back when the redheads were just piles of them were in the East and West Bay several years ago.
And let's talk about they were not there this year.
No,
not very many.
No,
and your boys knew.
No, they knew. Yeah, and matter of fact, I'm working in a project in Carabel right now. And as we were saying earlier, right now there must be 10,000 redheads in the Carabel area.
See, we were talking about that. We just didn't see them this year. That's where they are. That's a beautiful bird.
Yep.
Beautiful bird.
Yep. This is a couple of years ago with Bowen and I had been on a hunt up in Washington County area, and I think we killed. We had a smorgasbord that day. We had some dove and some quail, and all were by this. This is my male pointer.
Okay.
And this is that same day. Just some of the birds we had. We had a woodcock in there.
Woodcock.
It was opening day that place. It was opening day of woodcock season, and we happened to step on one. So.
That's scary, don't they?
Oh yeah. This is the same year. This is at another place up in Jackson County, And my son-in-law owns this female on the left there. Those dogs are brother and sister.
No kidding.
Yeah, and they're both solidly trained.
Cool.
This is my oldest son Taylor. This is this year. This is the last day we went. We were hunting up in the Jackson County area, and we killed. That was 8 wild birds he's holding right there.
They got over and under.
That's a Beretta over and under silver pigeon.
That's nice. Good.
Yeah, that's the gun, and that's the same day.
Yeah.
That's with the dogs, and just a picture before we were wrapping up to leave.
Just great memories.
Yeah, we took that picture just because it was a good picture, and we the hats and all, and the redhead hat there on the left is Taylor and Bowen always get on to me because they want to know if I'm wearing my lucky hat.
Oh, that's your lucky hat.
So I hunt in that hat. So that's just the picture we took.
Okay.
And this is a picture of that Brittany will be 2 in April, and he's turning out to be a good one.
I love those Brittany's. Okay, and we're going to talk about that. That's the last one. We got a perfect time, and we're going to talk about a deer hunt picture tomorrow and all. But what would you recommend real people that want to do some real hunting of quail? What would you recommend them if they want to do?
First of all, they need to get in shape.
Good one.
They got to get in shape, and you've got to have you got to have good dogs.
Got to have good dogs. Yeah.
I've trained these dogs on pen raised birds,
yeah.
but I'm convinced that dogs that hunt pen raised birds all the time don't do that well on wild birds. And wild birds are a lot more skittish, a lot more wily.
More challenge, yeah.
They don't want to hold as tight.
Yeah.
So
we're going to run out of time because, but I wanted to, next time I want you to come on again. Maybe bring one of the boys when they're in town. So let me know, and we'll talk about too that how to hunt wild birds as compared to.
Yep.
But I know you got to get to Carabel.
Yes, sir, I do. Yes, sir. And I appreciate you having me today.
Well, it's just awesome having you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And
yes,
run
sir.
by sea quarters and check on those people.
Oh, I will. Absolutely.
Wake them up. Tell them to go fishing.
Okay, sure will.
Tim McGuffin here, and really enjoyed having you. Thank y'all for watching Panhandle Outdoors. Always do something good for your fellow man. Enjoy the great outdoors, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.